Tepla.
Good, she's ready. Welcome back to another episode of gtalks Radio. I'm your host, Lulu Yao. A little short intro. gtalks Radio is a monthly interview show founded in 2019. The show combines oral practices and radio production to center storytellers who approach art through different mediums, curate advice and visibility for communities navigating the emergent landscape of art. From 6 a.m. car radio in Urumqi to the soundtrack of a night out in Pakistan, gtalks Radio gathers sound waves from every corner of the world and weaves them into global narratives. What we hear is who we are. Now the show is expanding into in-person events, bringing its frequencies into physical spaces to foster community, connection, and dialogue offline. And today we're in the space of Farnier with Lulu. A bit more about Lulu. Lulu Yao Gioiello is a creative director and the founding editor and publisher of Farnier, an annual printed book series and platform that broadens perspectives of Asia through image, person, idea, and history, blurring the boundaries in which Asia is positioned and viewed on a global scale. Her work has been collected by the Metropolitan Museum of Art, MoMA's Artists Books Collection, and the ICP Library Her books are sold in galleries and bookstores across Asia, the Americas, Europe, and the UAE, including the Walker Art Center and Tsutaya Ginza. Hi, Lulu.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good.
Thank you for having us in your studio. Shout out to Wasp behind the camera. Yeah, we're just going to get right into it. Growing up in New York City, what's it like exploring and navigating your creative practice?
I always say that I didn't really experience anything else besides growing up here, so I don't have much to reference, but I would say I think something that was really great growing up in New York was just being around so many different types of people, especially going through like the public school system. And I grew up with my dad, who's fifth generation Italian American from the Bronx, so very like New York, although he was a bit of a hippie. So we spent a lot of time like meditating and going into Queens or like trying different religions, I guess, or spiritual groups. We did like a Korean Taoist group for a while. We also did kind of a Hare Krishna adjacent meditation practice. But I think that just exposed me to a bunch of different ways of thinking and also different types of people. For instance, like the meditation practice was mostly people from Corona, Queens, because that's where it was. And a lot of the monks were from the Philippines. And a lot of the people that came to meditate were Dominican. So I just felt like this kind of interesting multicultural experience growing up was very unique to New York. And also, I guess, I didn't grow up with my mom, who's Taiwanese. So that also helped me kind of, I guess, be exposed to like different types of Asian culture when I wasn't directly connected to my own.
Growing up, what was your favorite book or like any prints? And if you have any collections?
Yeah, so I don't have this collection anymore because my dad kicked me out of the house when I graduated from high school. We still have a good relationship, but we just lived in a very small apartment. But I did have a huge collection of manga growing up. I think that was like my first real love for like pop culture. Specifically, Ranma 1/2 was my favorite. I still have those, actually. I kept those. I don't know. I just thought it was a really funny, interesting story.
It is. I loved it. I was obsessed with it. Every part. I know we talked about it before, but yeah, just like it's so magical. To be honest, I didn't even analyze it that much growing up. It was more so just like, it's gender like fluidity. This is what I want.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny that, when he touches water, it's like,
yeah, it's interesting that it's been like examined later on about how and also that so many people kind of like were attached to it as well or fond of that story specifically because it was so gender exploratory.
Even with romance too, like how they navigated with the girl as well, which was interesting to see.
Yeah, like, I don't care if he's a he or a she. I just love him.
Exactly. when did the idea of Farnier first come about?
So I started it in 2017, and the first book came out in 2018. And that was kind of around when I had already started my career. So I'd graduated college, and I think a lot of it had to do with just being exposed to the publishing industry, also the advertising industry, and just seeing how little was out there that really expressed, I guess, this kind of diversity within Asian identity that I wanted to see, especially visually. I think like a lot of publications out there were very much like Europeans dictating what Asian art was, or what was beautiful within Asia. But also in Asia itself, I think there was a very Eurocentric perspective on what was valuable, both as like from an art perspective, but also from like a representation perspective. And so I was just kind of frustrated about that. I also was starting to spend more time visiting my mom in Taiwan and friends in Japan, and talking to them and talking about their frustrations. And so eventually one of my friends was like, you should just make it if you feel like there's something out there you want to see that doesn't exist. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll try it.
Mm-hmm. Why the name Farnier?
I think the main thing really was like I wanted to not just focus on East Asia, because East Asia is so dominant in the narratives of the Asian continent. So to me, it was a way of expressing the entirety of the continent and everything in between as well. So I kind of landed on that.
I see. Was there a reason that you chose like printed media in comparison to like other outlets? Because you are also a creative director yourself. I guess like being exposed to so many different mediums. Why did you land it on print?
I mean, I've always loved books, and like I said, I probably had like 300 different manga books growing up, and then I also spent a lot of time in the library just borrowing random books. And I know people say don't do this, but I would judge it by the cover and just take whatever. And through that, I discovered a lot of interesting stories or perspectives that I definitely shouldn't have been reading at the time. But I think I was always drawn to books and connected to books and found value in them. And then especially, around 2017, I mean, obviously the internet had been around for a while, but I think online platforms were really strong, and it just felt like it was kind of the beginning to me of the internet becoming a black hole where you don't actually get to discover that much, or it's very short attention. So like, to me, only having an online platform didn't really mean that much, because everything could just get lost in the internet and forgotten, whereas a book could be something that someone holds on to. I didn't even intend or think that institutions would ever collect the books, but once they started doing that, I was like, oh wow, I'm actually kind of archiving people's work, which I think is really amazing. So that's just been like a nice thing that's happened.
That was definitely my access point to Farnier's like issues as well. It felt archival, and definitely, like you said, like stories in between, and like being Central Asian myself, like growing up, and also Chinese, like growing up in China, was something that I gravitated towards. And I think I have the first issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think that's when I got my hands on it, like for the first time. And that's when I was like, oh my God, one day I'm going to pitch my story. Well, of course, I was like, when I'm ready. And I was like, but like coming to New York and also like meeting you and stuff like that. I'm curious, like, what was your process like when you were putting out the first issue? Did you have any other like print media experience prior to that, or?
So my first job out of college was for Erin Lauder, who's like Estee Lauder's granddaughter, which is really random. It's like the other side of the tracks of New York life. But the good thing about that job was it was very print production heavy. And so I started learning how to reach out to vendors and get quotes and like work on just building mechanical files and things like that. And that actually really helped me as I started to work on this book. Just knowing how to even get started in reaching out to printers or producing a book. And then besides that, I also like interned a lot in college, about 6 times. And a few of them were publications. And so I learned, I tested out the waters with those. Those were more magazines. I think I was more driven or I was more interested in making a book, kind of the same reason why I didn't want it to just be an online platform. But it was still like, it's kind of a magazine book. And then I made a book myself in college also as like a thesis. I'll just show it. Nice. This was like hand bound and done on my office, Aaron Lauder's office printer after work. I don't think they'll ever find that out, but I would just that was more of my self-publishing experimental side. So yeah, I think with those experiences, I learned how to actually physically make a book. And then the book itself, I really was like, I'm just going to make this. I don't care if anyone finds out about it or not. Like, it'll be great if people are interested, but if not, that's okay too. I put like all of my savings into it. I tried to do a Kickstarter, but it ended up being extremely stressful. And kind of just helped me get pre-orders, which was still good to learn how to do that. And I mostly reached out to friends of friends. It kind of, and then a couple of people I emailed kind of cold call. And actually, I really liked Yoshi Tomonara at the time, and I reached out to his gallery and they responded. And I remember just being like, wow, I could get him in this book. This is crazy. Wow. And that helped me also realize I can just start reaching out to people, even if I don't know who they are. We don't know each other. And so each book I kind of learned from the last one. And yeah, I think also maybe got better every time, but
yeah. What is your favorite issue so far and why?
I mean, all of them are interesting in their own way, but I do like the last one the most. Heat, which I think is the most, I don't know, something about the theme was very, came very naturally and also had so much relevancy to what we were dealing with. And then I think also what's amazing with this one, my hands are too cold.
Oh,
you should
I could
touch
do
it. The heat, the thermochromic ink was something I've always wanted to do. And so that was really fun to try to just like experiment with the materials themselves. I think like I've gotten more comfortable with more experimentation with the design and the formatting. So
I see. That one was really fun. I was like, oh my God, this is, how did you decide on the theme?
I have a really, really long list of words that just come to mind on my phone. And then every year I'll go back and see if any of them stand out. And I don't know why heat just felt very, very appropriate. I guess because of climate change and all the tension like everywhere essentially. But also the way that I could approach it in a more playful way and not all have it be too heavy.
I'm really curious about, in the context of heat and just like everything is happening, how have you been balancing both the publishing and community building space? Because I know Farney has a studio as well in Chinatown, has been like hosting different workshops and just kind of curious about the balance.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. So I opened this space 3 years ago and I was super ambitious 3 years ago about what I would do with it. But also, trying to test different formats and see what stuck. The first year I was like, I also had a grant for the programming. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try exhibitions, screenings, workshops, basically every type of thing, small and large scale that I can do. I burnt out a little bit, I would say, because it was just so much work and I work full time to pay for everything. But then I also realized what I actually wanted from the space through this. I think the exhibitions were really great and a great way to get a lot of people in and also to share work from artists that might not have had a chance to show their work yet. Or in a more intimate space. But I think what I really gravitated towards the most were these smaller groups of like 8 to 10 people and having really intimate conversations where people can actually get to know each other and have a chance to speak, versus like 40 people all cramped in the room and just, having another opening that obviously like New York has so many of those. And so the smaller things have felt more close to what I'm actually comfortable in as well, but more unique to New York as a place. Yeah.
How's it? Is there any like favorite memories that you have along with like most like with the space, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, besides the small things, the screenings have been really fun. I think what's really exciting about those is it brings in like a very specific group or audience every time. So depending on if I'm showing, an indigenous Taiwanese documentary, like queer documentary, or a Central Asian artist, like family archive, it'll be either like...
That one was fun.
Yeah, that one was really fun. It's just like fun to have these different communities come in and all ages. That also really, really excites me. Like anytime someone's grandparents come, I'm like a little teary-eyed from it. It's like such a nice feeling. And also when they kind of express their excitement over seeing themselves or like seeing their story captivating such a young audience. That always feels really important, or like makes it feel worth it, I guess. Yeah.
I'm curious, like in comparison to how much the print has like broadened its reach, like and on a global scale with like regions as well, specifically within Asia. with the physical space, has there been any like communities or like diaspora or like any aspect of that you haven't seen yet that like showed up to this space? I don't know. I feel like and yeah, I think I'm just curious about like who else do you want to see showing up in the space, like physically, if possible, in New York City?
Yeah, I think when I first opened the space, I was like, okay, I want all these people I know that don't know each other to meet each other. And New York is so intense that a lot of people end up staying in their little groups and not kind of interacting with each other. And I was thinking about the Asian American or the Asian American and the Asian diaspora in New York, and how there was not always that much of an overlap, and trying to figure out a way to get people to like talk to each other, even if there's a language barrier or something like that. And then also like getting into those groups if I'm not necessarily like part of one. I don't know, for instance, like we had a Korean artist show her work here, and after the show we all went to dinner, and I was like, oh, this is so great. I get to like learn from and like be friends with people that, I think we would always have been friends if we had the opportunity, but there's not always the opportunity to just get to know each other in a casual and intimate way. Having the Central Asian artists film here was amazing because, again, it's like sometimes hard to break into the network of people that you're not necessarily a part of in their community, and just being able to like get to know more Central Asian artists and creatives in New York is amazing, because it's kind of hard to like find them unless you know them, so I loved that. Other people I would like here, I don't know. I guess something else I really like is having people visiting New York come here from different places. And so having more of that, of just being able to kind of connect different diasporas, whether they're visiting or living here or from here or whatever.
No, for sure. Yeah, I kind of experienced like a glimpse of it where the Korean publishers came in.
Yeah,
that was fun. That was so cute. And I saw the book on the site now on Farnier, which was really fun to see.
Yeah.
And it's such a nice space for like anyone to visit in New York to stop by. Also with the Central Asian film was so interesting because there's like, even within the diaspora, of course, like there's many conversations, and like to see that physically and seeing like other Central Asian folks, it was so easy to recognize. I was just like scanning. It's like, do I see my people? And I love the kind of like snacks entry of things too. Like I think food is something that plays a role too in this space when you host events, and I really like that, especially when you went to Tashkent Market that one time. It's like, I love that. Yeah,
I always try to curate the snacks.
So we talked about like having like community here, but also with working with people, that's also a sense of community on its own. Who do you usually like tend to gravitate towards when it comes to publishing, let's say, an issue? And like who are they? Like are they mostly based in like submission, or like is there friends of friends? But yeah.
It's definitely a mix. I do an open call every year, and that's a really great way to meet people I don't know of personally. I also do a lot of research throughout the year of just artists or writers that I'm interested in, and I'll save them for the future. And then, the network, having a physical network of people is great as well. So, my writer friends will be like, oh, I have this writer friend who wants to talk about some niche film that they really loved growing up, and they think you might be interested in publishing it. So I think that the whole mix of like strangers, people I'm admiring from afar, and then also people that I know or my friend knows has been a really good mixture. So it doesn't feel too much like a bubble of the same people. It's like expanding. Yeah. as in regards to like the type of person I like to work with, I mean, I try to keep it pretty broad because I don't want to be like the person who, even though I'm making the book and I'm choosing who goes in it, I don't want it to be too much of my opinion on other people's experiences. I gravitate more towards people who have very specific stories, and then also something I've never heard about before, or just something that like tells you a different story about their community or their culture. So like I really loved working with Indigenous Taiwanese artists because, I mean, me growing up, like no one even knew Taiwan. They just thought I was Thai a lot of the time, or they'd be like, oh, my pencils are made there. So already within itself, like, you know, Taiwanese culture is Chinese, you know, mostly Chinese culture, Han Chinese, but also being able to expose people to indigenous culture from Taiwan, which is actually so important to Taiwanese culture itself in the country, I think is really important to me. And that goes along with any other cultures that I'm not personally connected to. Having, you know, a Peruvian Japanese sculptor is really interesting to me because there's a huge population of Asian diaspora in Peru, but most people wouldn't automatically assume that. And then Central Asia, obviously, as well. It's like people don't even think about the region a lot of the times. I think it's changing a little bit now, but
shout out Uzbekistan.
Yeah, exactly.
Work out.
But yeah, just being able to
Definitely.
kind of share these people's work and also perspectives that are less spotlighted usually.
building far near abroad as well? Like, because definitely like New York has a scene, but through like book fair, there has been some collaboration internationally too. How have you been navigating that aspect of things?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, just because again, I work a lot to make enough money to like live in New York and pay for the space and make the books. I don't have too much time to go to every book fair. So most of the book fairs I've gone to are in New York or like the tri-state area and then LA. But I did do Tokyo Art Book Fair last year, which was an interesting experience. And it was actually much better than I thought it would be. Like people were really interested in the books. I think also having Japanese speakers with me was really helpful. But it was kind of fun to see the reactions to people if you try to talk to them versus trying to talk to someone in New York, because New York, everyone wants to chat. But a lot of people in the book fair in Japan were like, why are you talking to me? Like, but then once you warm them up, they were like very interested in the book. Also in Taiwan, I did the art book fair there as well. And something interesting is that a lot of people would ask, why are you making this book? And what does this even mean? Because I think especially in Asia, where you're surrounded by people usually who are similar to you, you don't think about being Asian or what that means. So it's almost like a new concept for some people. Obviously, people who are more like artists or international have more of a better idea of what it's coming from. But explaining that to some people was interesting. But I don't think they were like against it at all. They were just like, "Oh wow, I've never thought of this."
Yeah.
Or a lot of Japanese people were like, "A Japanese person could never make this." And I was like, "Okay, I don't know what that means, but I'm going to take it as a compliment."
Oh, okay. Perspectives, definitely.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you like book fairs?
I love them. It's funny because you see a bunch of introverts having to talk to people and like sell themselves and their books. But once everyone gets kind of the flow, I think it's a really amazing way to meet like-minded people. It's just a bunch of nerds.
I know.
That love making books.
It wasn't until you pointed out and I was like, oh my God, I've been a villain. As in like, I go there like, oh my God, tell me more about your thing. And they're like, okay, so, and I was like, yes, there's so many publishers are introverted people. Yeah. And even the new friends that I've met in New York through the creative network has been that way. And I love it. And I feel like, and book fair because of that, I think has been a safe space to a certain extent, because it's not like I could be someone that's like just observing, there's no pressure of like specifically. That's just in comparison to like advertising. I don't know, like something, anywho, has been, I think that perspective gave me so much context of why I felt calm at book fair.
Yeah. And I mean, for the most part, besides galleries and institutions, no one's making money off of it. They're just doing it because they love it. And I think there's something there that feels more, more intimate, I guess, or just like, oh, you're just talking to someone who really loves books and wants to share the books they like to make.
For sure. There's definitely care, and also the content of it. Like there's a lot of books addresses like so many different narratives that a lot of institutions not necessarily like have the space for. So we're not willing to, have the space for.
All
So, I guess kind of moving away from that, like what's something that you want to explore more? We could dive in through the perspective of Farnier and then yourself personally too.
I think from a design perspective, I really want to push the design a little bit more and try to, there's like art object kind of approach to the book that I really want to make, but I'm not sure if I can do it, or I guess I've never done it necessarily. Just material wise, like really pushing the format of the book is just a personal goal for me. But, you know, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with how I've been doing the book and the platform and the space. And as, you know, one person who does get help from others, but generally does a lot of it myself, I think I try to be more patient with or more forgiving to my ambitious side and not push myself too hard to the point that I like burn out, because it's really easy to do that. And so I think just continuing making things that I think are valuable to others and then also valuable to myself as far as learning new things, meeting new people. That's like always the most important thing to me. Yeah.
I guess learning new things, is there something that Farnia kind of like pushed you to expand yourself besides like being exposed to so many different narratives within Asia or like beyond it? That's something I'm always curious about, because the intentionality of so many different issues has been inclusive to my perspective because of like features of like, you know, Central Asian artists and like listing of like the regions and whatnot. And sometimes I wonder, you know, how is Lulu capable of, like, what does she experience, or like, and we talked about this before, like being in New York and like there's like, you know, some friends that like already introduce you to different like perspectives. But I'm curious, like, has Farnier, as you look forward, like, has there been something that, I don't know, that you hold on to always when you navigate like new like perspectives, or yeah.
I think maybe just trying to make the person, whoever I meet or want to work with, feel comfortable enough to share what they want to share and not, again, not push too much of what I think is right or what I think would be interesting. Because that's literally what I don't want to do and what a lot of other people do. Right. And then also focusing on people who are maybe lesser known, just because there is a tendency to have like the one person who represents the whole region as a creative, and sometimes those people are really cool and like I like their work, so I might include them, but I want to make sure that there's also a mixture, so it's not just the recognizable names that everyone knows that represents that culture. So like people that are maybe going to give a different version, just to again reinforce the fact that none of this is some concrete textbook like culture that never changes, or it's
fun and it's forever expanding. I think I'm also learning through like the archival projects and the writings and like doing research on people like through it. is there a new theme of issue that we should be looking out for, or is there a call for that as of late?
I am working on the next issue.
Yeah.
It's on romance.
Yeah.
The deadline has passed,
Oh.
although I'm pretty early in the process. So if anyone still wants to pitch and I can do it within the deadline, I think I'd be totally open to that. And then by romance, I think something that I'm really looking for is like it is a very stereotypical world, romance, and I kind of want to twist it a little bit. So just trying to think of it more critically and also think of like romanticization or yearning or longing and maybe also the ways that we as like individuals romanticize certain things over others and just like push that a little bit in the theme. That's the goal. Yeah.
I'm so excited. I saw the call and I was like, yeah. I mean, I think like kind of gearing towards last question, like what else do you want to see in the future issues? You have a list of words, like we did mention that earlier. Kind of, I guess, yeah. What else do you want to see maybe from the readers or like the folks that are submitting? And if there's anything we should look forward to as like, folks in the community and like really excited for how far near expands. Yeah. So that's 2 questions.
I guess I hope people will read or see these stories and discover new things about their own culture or like a different version of their own culture, and then also resonate with other people's culture and feel connected to them, even if there's thousands of miles separation. And then I don't know if this is part of the question, but I guess something else that would be like a fantasy, hopefully one day is a reality, is like, hosting some of the things that I've hosted here in other spaces and having more of this bridge of Asian American, Asian diaspora, and then Asians in Asia, just like getting more from each other and circulating information, knowledge, and like creativity more. Just because I think there's a lot to exchange that could be really nice to just really develop more of a network that way. So yeah, like maybe doing workshops in another country could be fun, or inviting more people from other places to share their work here.
Love that. And that's the end of the interview. I guess like just for an outro, if there's anything you want to say, like it could just be like, I don't know, sometimes people have things to say for an outro, like thank you for listening or whatever, but if anything, thank you for being on the show, and thank you for hosting us in your space.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, and anyone want to visit here, they can. We're open by appointment, so just reach out.
Nice. And where do we find that information with appointments?
I update most often on Instagram, but also the website has all of the information.
Perfect.
Xiaochan
Thank you so much. And thank you for tuning in. You've listened to G Talks Radio on Dub Lab, and talk to you next time.